In the embroidery studio, we undertake a wide variety of commissions, from conservation to restoration to new pieces. Our customers come from all over the world. These include fashion houses, interior design companies, or places of worship. We can undertake a royal wedding dress and a family treasure, all here on site in the UK. The type of work we undertake for places of worship can be quite varied, from hand designing and embroidering a full set of vestments to conserving and restoring an altar frontal. We have a wide range of conservation and restoration commissions that come through the studio, from larger conservation and restoration pieces such as reweaving of tapestries or hangings, down to smaller items such as wedding veils and christening gowns. I've got a few pieces here that we're currently working on in the studio at the moment, such as this christening gown here. This piece will have a light clean in a conservation detergent, and there are a few holes, which is typical to christening gowns, which we will repair. All repairs are discreet, and then it will have a press and a steam, and it will be ready for the service in a few months' time. Moving on from christenings, we also do wedding veils. So you can see here this beautiful lace piece that we have. Again, we'll have a very light, gentle surface clean, and there are a few holes. So what we can do is we can repair those holes. We can also make the veil longer in some cases, or make it slightly shorter. We also fit combs, so they're very adaptable, and it's the perfect keepsake for a special day. We also have a piece here which is a conservation piece. It's from 1887, so it's extremely fragile. It's a silk and wool piece, so we'll begin, as we typically do, by taking it out of its original frame. We'll give it a light surface clean on the front and the back, just to remove any dust or dirt that may be caught within the threads and the fibres. It will be supported onto a new fabric, stabilised throughout, and then it will get remounted onto an acid-free conservation board and then framed again, and it will live on for another 100, 200 years or so. We have this wonderful wall of wool here, which is fantastic when we come to conserve and restore larger pieces such as hangings and furniture. Sometimes it can be very difficult due to different dye lots now to find the exact match that we want. Pieces have become faded by the sun over time. Normal environmental factors can affect the look of the wool. So having this full range here allows us to find the exact match that we want to make sure that the transformation is perfect. One of the restoration services we provide here at the RSN Embroidery Studio is canvas reweave. This chair back panel here has had some wear and tear over time, which is typical of pieces like this. What we will do first of all is replace the missing warp and weft threads. This gives us a good foundation upon which we can then replace missing stitches. Using our expertise, knowledge and research, we repiece the pieces together, a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, and put back the missing elements. On completion, it will look as good as new. During lockdown, a lot of us found ourselves at home, and this was a great opportunity for a number of our clients to go up in the attic and have a look to see what they had. Typically, we had an influx of samplers, which are fantastic to work on. Traditionally, a sampler would have been used as a teaching aid for a young person to learn their numbers or their alphabet or a biblical verse, all of which would have been hand embroidered. We were able to conserve, restore, and now they can live on for another 100 years or so. Aside from conservation and restoration services that we undertake here at the studio, we also produce bespoke commissions too. These can be from very small commissions such as jewellery and fashion accessories, up to larger pieces such as the very special piece we worked on in 2011, which was the Duchess of Cambridge's wedding dress. This new commission here is worked in canvas work, so we're using a traditional mono canvas and we are working in a stitch called tent stitch, which is a one-directional stitch. It's been worked in a stranded cotton, and then once finished, the piece will be made up into a new bag. Our training is such that more than one embroiderer can work on a piece at any time. Never a stitch shall go cold is a phrase we use here often when we're working on large commissions. This expression means that we can have a continual row of stitching, a steady stream of workers, and it all looks seamless. These two pieces here, once they're finished, they'll be made up into two separate hangings, but they could alternatively be made up into an inserted piece for furniture or as a framed picture. So we use the traditional technique of prick and pounce for a great number of commissions that we work on here in the studio. Whether it's bespoke, conservation or restoration, it's a fantastic technique because it allows us to get an accurate and precise outline drawing, which is essential when we are trying to embroider or applique, anything like that. What we do is we begin by taking an accurate pencil drawing on tracing paper of the design. Once we have that outline drawing, we then use our pricker, which is a very sharp needle here, and we will do a series of holes along all of the outlines, quite close together. Once we have those all pricked on the tracing paper, we then use a special powder. We call it Pounce here at the RSN, and it comes in black, grey or white. So depending on the base fabric that we want to transfer onto, we will use the specific colour that we want. We take the powder, which is very finely ground, not too much, pop it onto our pad here, gently rub it over the tracing, making sure we have a nice even layer over all of the holes. Once we've finished placing the pounce powder over the top of our design, we'll then remove this tracing paper and then using a fine paintbrush we'll paint the outline on, ready to start embroidering.
The Arson Collection is a huge resource that we use for creating new designs, working new commissions, and also we use it for research so that we can see how stitches were worked, colours, techniques, and also when we use it for conservation, we can see how things were originally worked to make sure that we're doing them correctly. So this embroidery was inspired by two pieces from our design archive. This piece here is a chair seat and it's been partially painted. So we've taken the idea of just using partial colour in a design. We've also used this painted design and we've also taken the colours from this one. So part of the design and the colour influence. So we've used both of those and created our own design from those. We've used quite a green paint here to make it quite striking. We've used the threads in the colours from the design archive. Loads of techniques have been used and quite contemporary threads.
The RSN Embroidery Studio also produces a range of hand embroidery kits. Some examples here are a couple we are working. These are inspired by the exhibition of the lost dress of Elizabeth I, and they are motifs from that dress. This piece here has actually been designed especially for the 150th anniversary. It's a piece that's inspired by our archives here at the RSN, and it's an image, a Selwyn image, and it's some birds that have been worked in one embroidery stitch. We're going to be producing a whole range of different kits, taking inspiration from our archives. These kits will be available to buy online or in our physical shop here at Hampton Court Palace.